Alright, here's my indoor koi tank. I just wanted to give you some pointers if you're thinking about doing this at home. Blah, 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 blah. Hi, I'd like to show you my indoor koi pond here. Give you some ideas. If you're thinking about doing this yourself, it's really a pretty easy thing to do. I started off here low cost, 2 4x8 sheets of plywood, 3/4 inch. These are actually finished. It's a little smaller dimension than 3/4. Ideally, for maximum volume, you'd want to go, 4x4 square, or 5x3. I cut this a little bit shorter because I need the room to get around here. Also, I trimmed it down a little bit so it's a little bit more of a workable height here to get inside here. Netting on top, keep them from jumping. Yeah, I never really had a problem, but just in case. Running 2 pumps here, 250 gallon per hour. Harbor Freight tool pumps are pretty cheap. Liner is a 14x14 vinyl liner from eBay. This is the biofilter, biological filter. It's basically full of scrub, sanding scrubs, 3M sanding scrubs. Underneath there, I have 3, what do they call them, stone air bubblers, from PetSmart, air pumps running down there, feeding the bacteria oxygen. Seems to work pretty good. Nitrates, it's time for a change. You can kind of see the bubbles coming up there. It's been 6 days since I've done a water change. I do about a 10%, 15% water change. Have a tank here. I run, have the water, let the chloride to evaporate here before I change it. I took some water out and then replaced it there for their aquarium. You almost really need to do this properly. You need to go, you need to have a septic system or sump pump where you can drain the water out and then fresh water to come in. Okay, we're going to do a little water change here. I dropped the level of the tank down a little bit. Like I said, we're going to go on here. We got a couple 250 gallon per hour pumps surrounded by this these Scotch-Brite pad type things. These are pretty cheap. You kind of use it as kind of a final filter. I wouldn't use them as a primary. They'll probably get pretty well plugged up. Filter here, I'm running a grate, and I'm running 3 of these cheap furnace filters cut out to fit. They seem to work out pretty good. 3 of them seem to do a good job here. Run two updraft lines here. It seems to give me a decent flow rate. I don't have a problem balancing it out. I put a valve here to adjust it. I get 2 pumps coming out, one returning and one going through the biological filter. Seems to work out pretty good. Initially I had adjusted it here to control the flow. That way I had the same amount going in as coming in, but now it seems to be pretty well balanced. One thing I do want to point out is I run the return lines a little bit up. That keeps the water from continuing to flush the crap and dilute it back into the tank. It seems to kind of do a better job of settling it out. And then run the pads, the filters on top of that. And then this sits down inside of it. I'll show you the filters here. There we go. Just a little basic $15 filters. They've had them for about 2-3 years. They work out really good. The biological filter, I got a pipe running down on this side with a couple of holes put in it. That way it won't siphon back if there's a power shortage or something, and it pushes the water in pretty evenly across, then back out to the top. Return line runs down. Make sure your return line is sloped down so you don't get any air gaps in there, and returns down there. So I got water coming through the biological filter, and one just coming right up through here and splashing down the top there. Since the water is treated here with chlorine, I use this tank to measure to fill this up, put my chemical in there, and then I got a 400 gallon per hour pump on the bottom of that to return it back out. That's about it. And here's my drain. This is a little septic return line. Here again, about a $5 thing from Menards. Run that down through the sump pump. You know, wash it out, and now I'll go ahead and turn the pump back on, fill this up full of water, and then get this all put back together again, and there you go. That should be about it. And here's the fish. Okay, now we're going to start filling it back up. I dropped the water level about 6 inches there. That should give us a, you know, like I said, about 10-15% water change. I haven't measured out, but it seems to work okay. Fish seem pretty happy. And we'll get this filled up. Now once this gets empty, I'll put some stuff in there. This is what I'm using. This seems to be pretty good priced. Coy's Choice. Little cap for 2.5 milliliters. Quarter, half teaspoon per 30 gallons. Seems to be more than ample without overdoing it too much. We'll get this filled up. Then we'll siphon the pumps. Siphon the tubes back down through the bottom of this, and then we'll put the grate down here, and we'll put the filter back up. And then I'm using this for a little spacer to elevate that up. You know, build the suit, but you want to utilize this as much as possible. All right, cut. Okay, and here's our second can of water. A couple quick notes on tank construction. If I had to do it over again, I would have sealed this with some kind of water-based urethane. You know, water-based, easy to clean up, just to kind of waterproof it. I spaced these stringers out here evenly. I see after a year I got a really slight bow there. I probably would have put this down a little bit and then move this down a little bit too. You get a lot of water pressure pushing out on this thing. The horizontal stringers work a lot better than vertical, because if I were to go vertical, I basically just have this and that down there for lateral loads, or what you want to call it, pushing out on the side. Other than that, I think I'm pretty happy with it. Biological filter seems to be more than adequate. Also too, I put these aircraft cable insurance. You never know. If something were to happen, this would hopefully hold this side up, keep her from flooding out the basement. So we'll go ahead and fill up with water here. Then on the next video, I'll show you how we'll siphon it in, put the filter back together, and it'll be done. This whole operation takes how fast you want to go. You know, 15-20 minutes every 4 or 5 days, and that works out pretty good. All right, goodbye. Okay, turn the pump off, turn the water on. added our pond conditioner, chlorine remover. And we'll top that back off. This is kind of a neat way to measure it. That way we know exactly how much chlorine remover we're dumping in without overdoing it or wasting money on chlorine remover. And cut. Okay. Here's an operation. Here's what we're looking at. We're filling it back up. Here's the pump operating. Let's see if we can make it. Open this up and get inside here a little bit. There you can kind of see the filter going in there. You see the bubbling going on. And drill a couple little holes that tie that back in. Works out pretty good. This is kind of a neat little gadget here, a little observation thing. Keeps that doesn't look very well here, but keeps the water going. Makes a little bit more of a mirror effect. All right, cut. Okay, in the last segment here, we're going to talk about the filter here and the biological filter. Anyway, a little PVC to hold the grid there to set everything up on. We talked about. I do want to point this out though. Zip ties, gotta have them. They sure work in handy. Support this up a little bit so when the water is swirling around, it's not continually washing the crap and getting into the water. Try to separate it. So three of these filters seem to do a pretty good job of keeping it out. Anything that does get past there, any particles, seem to do a pretty good job of getting out of here. Here's the biological filter now. I got a bunch of different stuff in here. Mostly it's made out of these 3M scrub pads, scrub brushes here, and they're like paint sanding strippers, whatever. You can buy these at most hardware stores, 3M. Excuse me, Menards, Home Depot, what have you. Also, I have a lot of the cut up blue pads, which actually work just fine, and they're a lot less money. I don't know what this is. This is probably about 11 gallons or so here, and it's full now. At the bottom of this, I have three. I can't see them here, but there's three of these green tubes. You see them from aquariums, you know, for bubblers, running lengthwise across here. And it supplies little microbes with plenty of oxygen, I think. And that seems to be doing. There's the pumps over there. Then I have another stone over here, and then with the water coming out here, that does a nice job of keeping plenty of oxygen in the water. Same as the. I think the fish seem pretty happy. So that's about it. And good luck if you attempt this operation. It sure beats the heck out of keeping the fish outside. You know, this is the second winter here. If you look at my old video on YouTube, you can see that the fish have grown quite a bit bigger. Anyway, take care. Bye-bye.